Imagine you're in a world where all things are wrong. The innocent are imprisoned and shunned. Those deemed heretical are slaughtered. And not even the gods that oversee everything seem to have your best interest. All for the sake of order. Imagine you see the lengths of these atrocities, crimes against humanity and happiness going unpunished, purely because a greater will deemed it necessary. Wouldn't you think it's all hopeless? Wouldn't you think the best answer is to simply
burn the Erd tree to the ground and incinerate all that
burn it all to ashes? Wouldn't you give in to the sound of the flame? Anyway, you interested? Good. Name's Sandy. Elden Ring is a game I feel like needs no real introduction. This game, despite being over 2 years old and the DLC already nearing a year old, which is crazy to think about, is still discussed and played to this day. And if you're a veteran of my channel or even decide to look up Elden Ring on my channel, you'll see a collection of videos of me either playing it or tearing apart flaccid takes on it, with some of the people that I've deconstructed being more willing to keep up their bad takes than others. But for once, I'm deciding to put on my observation glasses, if you will, to take a look at an aspect of Elden Ring that has morbidly fascinated me ever since I've discovered it. The Flame of Frenzy. Maybe it's because I have a fascination with eldritch and indescribable horror, which is effectively what the Frenzied Flame is to a T, or maybe it's because every scene involving the Frenzied Flame is just so hauntingly stunning, especially as you find out more and more about what it does and what its goals really are. But what I'm doing here today is not just a lore discussion, as people much better than me have already done that to hell and back. No, I'm here to show that the Flame of Frenzy is Elden Ring's personification of the very concept of vengeance. And to do that, well, we have to go through the various stories that involve this haunting yellow flame. Let's first start off with the outer god of chaos itself, Shabiri. Keep in mind, I'm not even entirely sure if this is the name of this god, as every other outer god just has some kind of title attached to them. I'm just using the name Shabiri as it is the name referenced a lot in relation to this particular outer god, and is also the name of the very man who sparked the Flame of Frenzy first.
It's said that the sickness of the Flame of Frenzy began in Shabiri, the most rivaled man in all history.
But our first story starts with these guys, and more specifically, this guy, as we will get into later. These wandering merchants used to exist in multitudes, many more than what we see in-game for sure, but they all one day seemingly vanish, with the last few just settling wherever they can. But in a cut quest line, that for some reason got replaced with a quest following a character who legitimately has no connection to the Flame of Frenzy. What's the fucking point of Hyetta? You would have followed the first of these merchants you meet on his journey to find what happened to this great caravan of merchants. It would have had you go through the capital of Leyndell and into the subterranean Shunning Grounds, which is a sub-region that is one of my friend's favorite level types, a fucking disgusting ass sewer that the Omen are trapped in. Don't worry, they'll become important a little bit later. And once you make your way as deep as you can and murder a clone of Moog, you find... well, here you would find Kale at the base, waiting in despair as he finds out what happened to his brethren, all sealed far beneath the capital because the Order thought they worshipped the Flame of Frenzy. But how can this happen? Well, that's where this smug fuck named Shabiri comes in. From the descriptions of two main items, Shabiri's Woe and the Nomadic Merchant set, we pretty much learn what happened.
It is said that the man named Shabiri had his eyes gouged as punishment for the crime of slander, and with time, the blight of the Flame of Frenzy came to dwell in the empty sockets. These merchants once thrived as the Great Caravan, but after being accused of heretical beliefs, Their entire clan was rounded up and buried alive far underground. Then, they chanted a curse of despair and summoned the Flame of Frenzy.
Shabiri, as an act of tomfoolery to bring forth chaos into the lands between, decided to slander the Great Caravan, claiming that they were worshipping chaos itself. The Order, being the paranoid fuckers that they are, listened to this man and basically falsely imprisoned an entire clan as far underground as they could. And yet by the time it was discovered that Shabiri fucked with the Order, well, it was already too late. The Caravan, in resentment towards the Golden Order, became the very thing that they were accused of and caused the Three Fingers to form in that mass cell that they were trapped in. It'll be that very vengeful sentiment that Kale would adopt upon discovering what remains of the Caravan.
They think we worship the Three Fingers, that we called the maddening sickness down upon them. Well, if that's what they expect from us, then that's what they shall get from us!
Our next story comes from the DLC and is probably, in my opinion, the saddest of the three main ones that we're discussing. Midro, despite having a maiden that likely worshipped the Flame of Frenzy, was actually a pretty chill guy. From the art and stuff that we can find around his manse, the abyssal woods that we find after going through the single most annoying dungeon in the DLC actually used to be, well, a normal redwood forest of sorts before the Hornsent showed up to fuck everything up. Much like another guy that we'll soon discuss, Midro was to become a lord and inherited the Frenzied Flame because his maiden passed it on to him. Yet, when he found out that becoming the Lord of Frenzied Flame would involve losing his sense of self, he refused to ascend. And that was when the flame began to consume the woods and alert the Hornsent.
Spirits are eternal, and yet frenzied flame melts them away regardless. No wonder the Hornsent forbids the flame's use.
The Hornsent came, trashed the manse, killed every resident, including Midra's maiden Anaya, and to add insult to injury, effectively crucified the guy with a big branch shoved through his entire body.
She'll take the throne.
The man watched Anaya die before him, with the only words being left from her being to endure.
As the golden barbs inflicted eternal agony upon him, Midro held fast to Nanya's entreaty. Endure. The word was a curse.
And endure he did, remaining inside his discussion chamber, howling with endless, incurable agony for countless years, and left as the only living resident aside from the few Hornsent that remained there for whatever reason. Keep in mind that this man has endured all of this for years, and then suddenly you show up to not only trash the place even more, but also ignore his warning and the warning of the spirit in the manse.
I welcome you, O uninvited guest, but I must warn as you venture in. Heed the words of our great master Midro. Approach not the madness, lest ye succumb.
And when you do reach him, his only option is to tell you how foolish you are for ignoring him, and he has no other option than to try and get rid of you by force. Which naturally fails because his health bar is about as short as Confederacy's lifespan, and this becomes his breaking point. He has watched his friends and family die, has endured unimaginable eternal agony in the form of the crux and the flame, and decides...
Enough. I have endured more than enough. I ask you forgive me, dearest Nanaya.
we witness the Lord of Frenzied Flame, a being brought forth by despair and agony eternal, a being that no longer cares to dodge and seeks only to destroy, and you only find out what he's endured once you snuff out that flame. This next one is weird. Vike the Dragon Spear was originally one of the Knights of the Round Table Hold, and is said to be the closest to becoming Elden Lord. Yet instead of finish what he had actually started, he ventured below the capital and was grasped by the Three Fingers and partially inherited the Flame of Frenzy. I say partially, as in one encounter where he's inside an Everjail, he is seemingly cured of this affliction. But why would he do something like this? Well, his armor has a few guesses, like his maiden possibly leading him there, or possibly lured by suggestion, and honestly my guess falls around the latter and kinda plays into why I'd imagine the player would inherit the flame. Think about all that I've discussed so far. Think back to the intro. In Elden Ring, as you play, you find out how utterly flawed the Golden Order's sense of, well, order truly is. In the DLC, you find out the reason the Omen are considered heretical and why anything with horns is either imprisoned or forced to cut them off. You find out that to become Elden Lord, you must sacrifice your maiden, the very person that helped you get this far, just to reach the throne. You as the player learn this from Shabiri possessing another NPC that you meet and possibly help out early on in the game.
Only so that you may be Lord. What a horrible thing to ponder. Your ascendancy requires her sacrifice, whether she wishes it or not.
He even tells you to seek out the Three Fingers yourself, which probably isn't too far from what Vike experienced.
Descend into the depths far below the Erdtree capital. Seek audience with the Three Fingers and the Flame of Frenzy. If you inherit the Flame of Frenzy, your flesh will serve as kindling, and the girl can be spared, setting you on the righteous path of lordship, the path of the Lord of Chaos. Burn the Erdtree to the ground and incinerate all that divides and distinguishes. Ah, may Chaos take the world. May Chaos take the world!
But the one thing that separates you from Vike is that you are able to fully inherit the Frenzied Flame. As when you find a great caravan and find the place where the Three Fingers are sealed, you truly divest yourself of everything and let the flame burn you. The other thing is, of course, whether you decide to go on to become the Lord of Frenzied Flame, and if you decide to burn everything to the ground. The Frenzied Flame is a fascinating part of Elden Ring, especially for how infrequent it shows up, all things considered. The very idea of becoming something so destructive that none will side with you, even if they know how deeply flawed the Golden Order is. It's pretty much why I believe that this yellow flame embodies the idea of vengeance so well. From the birth of the flame being caused by slander and fear to a feeble lord giving in after enduring too much torment, all the way to you burning it all to the ground after witnessing one too many injustices. It's why the Flame of Frenzy is so utterly terrifying to me. Just the idea that one could overlook every other option, and instead just take the nuclear option. And as always, thank you for watching. How interesting. Even in stasis, she dreams. Your time will come, Miss Valentine. Just be ever patient.